If you're a diehard country music fan, you know there's a lot of great music that's always getting overlooked, that's always underrated. But when the CMA nominations came out this year for Album of the Year, and I was like, this is the collection of albums we've chosen, I knew I needed to make a video about the most underrated country music of 2019, because we're really overlooking some gems. But before we get into it, I want to say a shout out to today's sponsor, which is Keeps. 2 out of 3 guys will experience some form of male pattern baldness by the time they are 35, and that sucks. But the good news is that Keeps can offer treatments that combat the symptoms of hair loss. Now, you used to have to go to a doctor to get a prescription for any kind of medication for hair loss, but Keeps has changed the game. Now you can see a doctor online, you can get a medical prescription online, and it's delivered discreetly right to your home. And they have lots of different solutions, and you can find the right one for you. When it comes to hair loss, prevention is key, and Keeps treatments really work. They're up to 90% effective at reducing or stopping any further hair loss. So the sooner you start using Keeps, the more hair you'll save. So it pays to act fast. Many men even experience hair regrowth during treatment. And their testimonials speak for themselves. I mean, you can see these pictures from actual Keeps customers and how they've been able to do so. So if you want to see why Keeps has more 5-star reviews than any of its competitors, has over 100,000 customers, and is just a trusted hair loss solution for so many, you should check out keeps.com/Smith for 50% off your first order. 50%. That's Keeps, keeps.com/Smith, and you can get 50% off your first order. Now let's talk about underrated country music, because there's a lot of it. Now off the bat, I want to say that when I say underrated, I don't mean just unknown. There's a million and one unknown great artists that haven't broken yet, that deserve more attention, and I get that. I actually recently did a video called Under the Radar, the best under the radar music of 2019. It included Charles Wesley Godwin, Emily Scott Robinson, Gabe Lee, Yola, and Flatland Cavalry. All artists I feel extremely strongly about, and I want them to find a bigger audience. I've also covered people like Ian No on this channel. That's another album from this year that I'm like, gosh, this deserves a bigger audience. Those aren't really the things that I mean underrated, just because I wouldn't say that those people are yet at a place where we can expect huge sales from them. Flatland Cavalry's maybe getting there. Who's back in town? But the others, they're still breaking, and that's awesome, and I want them to break. But I think there's a lot of artists like that. This video, I'm going to be talking a little bit more about artists that there's some expectation of performance, and for whatever reason, they haven't gotten it with this music. Now, like I said, this video was really inspired by the Album of the Year nominations at the CMA Awards, which included Eric Church, which is the only album I'd say I really feel strongly should be in that category, along with Danny Shea, Maren Morris, Carrie Underwood, and Thomas Rhett. The main thought that I had when I looked at the CMA nominations was, where is Magnolia by Randy Houser? And he's the first artist I want to talk about.
Well, I made it up to Nashville, played the part.
Randy Houser made an amazing comeback album with Magnolia. He released it in January of this year, and why it has not been one of the most talked about subjects in country music this year is beyond me. Because here you have a guy who was one of the bros, one of the broiest of bros, with Running Out of Moonlight and We Went, and he released an album that starts off with almost a mea culpa of, you know, I kind of sold myself out to Nashville, but now I'm making this album that I want to, and it is soulful, and it is rich, and the textures on it are amazing, and his voice is soaring, and you got songs like Evangeline, and you got songs like No Stone Unturned, and they're kind of confessional and soulful and so good. I mean, maybe the best mainstream album that's been put out this year, and I just think, you know, we're all overlooking it, and that's crazy. Another big mainstream album that I think deserves a lot more attention is Jake Owens' Greetings from Jake.
I'll always be the man that homemade.
Now, why Greetings from Jake has been completely overlooked, I'm not totally sure. He was just coming off a big hit with I Was Jack and You Were Diane, and then he also had Down to the Honky Tonk, and then the album came out and it's just like, none of us care. And maybe that's just because Jake Owens kind of been a little all over the place as an artist in the past decade. He switches his style quite a bit. Sometimes it's the beachy talk singing. Sometimes he's going way more traditional on stuff like What We Ain't Got. But Greetings from Jake is an awesome album. It sounds great. If you want the happy medium between rich instrumentation and where you can hear the instruments and modern, fresh production, it's all here.
Man, a sailor man with an island tan down in Mexico.
There are songs on this like In It, like Made for You, like Homemade. I mean, skip the Lele Pons collaboration and maybe skip the Kid Rock collaboration. There's a ton of beautiful music on this. River of Time. I mean, if you want to hear some nice, like, steel, some fun electric guitar riffs, some nice lyrics, they're all here. And I'm just like, whoa, 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 whoa. Why are we all overlooking Greetings from Jake? This is a good album. This is a good album. Two veterans that I think should have maybe been considered a little bit more strongly for the Album of the Year award are Reba McEntire with Stronger Than the Truth and George Strait with Honky Tonk Time Machine. These are both really solid albums. Not just solid because it's George and it's Reba and they're famous. These are great albums with great songs on them. I mean, if I had to choose a song from George Strait's album that I think should be a big hit, I would say Some Nights and Blue Water. Those are both, like, one is really serious, one is really fun, but they're both excellent. And then on Reba's album, you've got all these awesome story songs. I really like Cactus in a Coffee Can, although I can see it's kind of maudlin for some. I think The Clown is a great track. I think that, I mean, it is full of old school, great country music, and I wish it was getting more attention, because I think it's cool that she did it. I mean, we had that little mini moment where Brooks and Dunn, George Strait, and Reba were all on top of the chart, and I was like, the 90s are back. Another album I really think deserves a lot more attention is Runaway June's Blue Roses. I know Runaway June is a new act on the scene, but they had this huge radio hit with Buy My Own Drinks, but I don't see a lot of the conversation around how good that album is, how good the writing is, how strong the harmonies are. There's a little bit of that Dixie Chicks style on songs like We Were Rich and Blue Roses, which have awesome storytelling in them, and I just think this album deserves so much more attention because it's fun. It's kind of that nice medium of pop and country that everyone really seems to please everyone. I just think it should be a way bigger piece in the conversation. And then the last album that I really think we're overlooking is Aaron Watson's Red Bandana.
I could hear Mama laughing as Daddy swept her off her feet.
Aaron Watson's really had a moment with his last few albums, including The Underdog and Vaquero, and he kind of had a national radio hit with Out of Style. This is a guy out of Texas if you're not familiar with him, but Red Bandana is like his opus, and I know the cover is kind of hideous. It's just, you know, a big square, red square on a black square, but it is a really, really awesome album. I mean, The Ghost of Guy Clark, one of the best songs of the year and one of the best protest songs I've ever heard about putting some soul in your music. But all through this album, whether it is, it's just an earnest album. I have talked about it quite a bit on this channel, so go find either my video about him and Co. or where I cover it in the album roundup. But this is such a rich, gorgeous album. Now, on the single side, I think there are a few things that have really just kind of fallen through the cracks this year. I would say one of them is Brad Paisley. He's released 2 tracks, Bucked Off and My Miracle. Both of them haven't gone anywhere, and then also he gets dropped as host of the CMA Awards. What are we doing to Brad? You know, I just did a video about Brad, my top 10 favorite Brad songs. He's amazing. I love his style. I feel like it's so crowd-pleasing, but underrated. Similarly to Neil Towns, she's a new artist, but she's been on the road with Dierks Bentley. She even got an On the Verge push for her latest single, or for her first single, which was called Somebody's Daughter, which was about looking at a homeless woman and just wondering kind of about her backstory and about how she ended up in the situation she's in. That song is so gorgeous, and her voice is so unique. It's kind of high, it's kind of reedy. It almost reminds me of a cross of like Iris DeMent and Elle King. That's so specific, and you got to really know music to know those, but I love her voice, and I can see maybe it was polarizing to people, but I hope she goes so far. Her next song, Jersey on the Wall, is amazing. I'm doing this to kind of let you in on the secret. Go listen to Jersey on the Wall. And then the last single I would talk about that I really feel has been underrated, personally, is, and I get why it happened, but Riley Green's In Love by Now. That song was a jam. I thought it was way cooler than There Was This Girl, which was his debut, but they did sound kind of similar. I was just like, In Love by Now is a better version of it. But then I Wish Grandpa's Never Died came along, and it's becoming such a big hit so quickly that they just dropped In Love by Now. And I'm like, no, I loved that song. That was kind of my summer anthem. And so it's underrated, but only because his next song has been so, you know, appropriately rated. Now, I asked you guys on Twitter who you think has been underrated, and we got some snarky answers. Some people said women, some people said instruments, and those things made me chuckle. Some of the most popular artists that came up are people that I'd need to listen to a lot more to really weigh in on. A lot of people mentioned this Charlie Marie EP and said I need to check it out. A lot of you guys said Joseph Huber, who totally in the dark on. Whiskey Myers, who I've only listened to kind of Mud, but I know Whiskey Myers is someone that a lot of you guys love. Carly Driftwood was brought up a few times, and then Jason Hawk Harris. And I've listened to Jason Hawk Harris's album once, and I really enjoyed it. What's up, guys? I'm here in the editing part of this video now, and that tweet went crazy after I finished shooting this, and so I got like 1 million responses. I just want you to know that I've seen them. I can't respond to everything, but Colby Cooper, that's another artist that you guys have made it very clear I should be checking out. Charlie Crockett, I need to check him out as well. And then, you know, a bunch of others. But, look, I ain't gonna reshoot the whole video now, so just letting you know I saw. Thanks for the recommendations. I have a lot of homework to do, and I've always got a lot of stuff to listen to, but those were some of the albums that I've kind of felt like, why are we not paying attention to these? You know, I think country music's going in a good direction, but it always sucks when something that you feel like deserves recognition isn't getting the recognition that you want it to have. So that's my take. That is today's video. If you liked it, like it. You can hit the bell, you can hit subscribe, you can do all the stuff that you do on YouTube. I really thank you guys for your support. Thanks to Keeps for sponsoring the video, and I'll see you guys next week.